All right, this is it. I'm doing this solo. I'm Joe. I don't really give a shit about how this goes. This is just gonna be me trying out to do a solo podcast and give a little shot at doing something I like doing in my spare time, which is watching movies really baked and talking about how they either like rule or suck. Your basic review, but I don't know. I've been watching a lot on YouTube. Everybody's all fucking jammed up on all these Marvel movies and fucking Kongs versus Godzillas and motherfucking Mortal Kombat. Like, it's just a dog shit year for fucking movies, and everything I've wanted to see has just been god fucking awful. And I have a lot of like pent up frustration, and in that I hope to channel some of that energy into like actually getting my 2 cents out there, and maybe this will get passed along to somebody that can actually create some decent content, or maybe fucking make a movie that just doesn't have some fucking dumb bullshit agenda behind it, because anything made after 2014 maybe, like as soon as I exited film school, it was pretty much just all downhill from there. Everything was like fucking slanted and bogus. It was a nightmare. I came off the heels of like such a fucking good era of like just out of the aughts into like the early teens. That was like when I was in college. So like I remember that one of the first movies I watched was Lars von Trier's Antichrist. That was a fucking mind blowing movie. Because I didn't know that like films could be like artistic and brutal like that, and then you start to kind of understand that, oh yeah, like movies aren't just supposed to be this like mindless fucking churn of playing into your emotions and just think tank fucking scripts and shoehorning in like pretty much some fucking corporate mentality of like inclusion and everything. It's like if you just make a fucking good story, it doesn't matter really what the outcome is. It like what the backing behind it is. Like you can create a lot of fucking cool environments for characters to have fun in a cinematic sense, without like trying to shoehorn a bunch of other garbage into it that's just going to make it like muddled and misguided. And that's like been my major frustration. So I'm hoping here to critique stuff that's available to the masses. Like, so I'm going to be watching a movie on Netflix today called Stowaway. And I just shot a couple of people some messages, and then I posted on Facebook asking for suggestions. And one of my good pals from Facebook that I've never met face to face, but he is a one of the funniest characters I've ever had the pleasure of interacting with. His name is Camille, and he's a father from Poland, and now I guess he lives in the Netherlands with his wife Elle, and he's got two fucking hilarious kids that he is just gaga over. He's a fucking awesome badass dad, and yeah, he's funny, and pretty much everything he says cracks me up. And he was the first person to respond. He recommended Stowaway, but as I've learned from reading through the rest of the messages, he meant the movie Underwater, but he somehow confused Stowaway and Underwater. It might be a language barrier thing, but I don't really know. I don't know how I confused the two, but anyway, Underwater's not on Netflix, or at least it's not in my country, so Stowaway it fucking is. I'm assuming he's seen this. I'm assuming some people have seen it. It's on Netflix, so people have the ability to find this shit pretty easily, and it just pops up regardless of what your film tastes are. It doesn't even take into consideration like what your tastes are, like if you have any preferences or whatever. It just pretty much shows you the same 40 things in a different fucking order. So that's yeah, like that's pretty much it. I find a lot of movies that way, mostly on Prime. Prime's pretty good because they actually understand your fucking tastes to a certain extent. It's not like categorized the same way Netflix is. It's a little more like they recognize auteurs. I'm fucking autist. I am. Fucking got some soundboard, so I'm gonna pepper that one in right. Yeah, let that one sink in, Scrocka. But yeah, back to my fucking spiel over here. Yeah, like Prime at least recommends things that are consistent with your taste. Netflix just is like throwing everything at the wall and seeing what sticks and preying on ignorance. Like it'll lump like Wild Wild West in with fucking No Country for Old Men, and you're fucking perplexed by the whole goddamn thing. But yeah, Anyway, not to get off topic. Yeah, so I'm gonna be watching Stowaway, and I guess the format I'm gonna go for too, just to get a little clarity, is I'm not trying to do this too long. I'm not trying to be Red Letter Media. I'm not trying to be fucking whatever it is, Critical Drinker. They are two of my favorite channels. Pretty much the only two movie review channels I watch on YouTube religiously, aside from like a couple of spotty ones here and there. They're harsh, they're honest, they have tastes that sync up with mine, but like Red Letter, they get hung up on the fucking Marvel shit. Like when push comes to shove, they're fucking dorks from Wisconsin, and I love them. They're fucking great. I really their analysis of just like their nitpicking is so fucking like scientific and like fucking surgical. How they like are just able to like dissect the dumbest fucking shit. It makes me laugh. And then Critical Drinker is just really fucking sarcastic and fucking morbid with like his analysis, but he's also like very harshly honest, and like he's one of the people that I listen to pretty much everything he says. I don't agree with a lot of what he says too, but like he does have some very valid points, and he does a really good breakdown and analysis. So the format isn't going to be like a breakdown or an analysis. What I'm going to do is just I read the synopsis. Stowaway is on Netflix. Tell you how to get the movie or whatever. Just pirate it or fucking put a link up there or whatever. But yeah, then I'm going to watch the movie. So I'm going to do about 10 minutes up front and then take a break. Probably going to have to get high in the middle of all of this too, so I'm going to be fucking wasted by the end of this. Then do maybe like a 10-minute recap at the end, 20-minute recap. I don't fucking know how long I want to do this thing, but I just am like, this is an exercise in catharsis for me. I'm trying to get some of my aggression out by like, I'm so angry at the shit I see in these fucking films and just how they've completely bastardized and ruined something that I loved because they don't want to, like, even I'm a huge Marty Scorsese fan, and I cannot fucking stand The Irishman. I watched it through again, and it's like, it's easier to watch around the second time, but like, God fucking damn it. Like, just fucking retire. Christopher Nolan, another one, should have fucking retired after Memento. He makes nothing but garbage. If you're listening to this expecting to hear me break down like Marvel movies or anything fucking superhero, no, just fucking turn it off now. Not going that way. I'm just going to be making fun of fucking Netflix and then kind of giving my own take on it. But this isn't for synopsis. I'm not going to be trying to be humorous. This is just going to be honest. I'm going to probably mock a lot of this shit. And, I mean, it might be a deterrent. This is probably just going to end up being, like, if anything, used against me in the court of law later when I fucking drive a steamroller down a sidewalk. I got, like, 2 more minutes. Let me keep rambling. So I should also point out that I went to film school. I went to Hofstra University from 2009 to 2013. I majored in film studies and minored in English, so I have arguably a decent comprehension of filmmaking. I don't think that I'm an expert by any means, but I really do have an appreciation for the art form. It's my favorite medium. It gives you a nice vignette. It's longer than a sitcom. Shorter than a fucking novel. Like, you get everything you need in an hour and 20 minutes. You get to enjoy some popcorn, hang out in the dark, fucking, depending on what country you're in, I think you can smoke in movie theaters in other places, so that's a nice benefit, but I've never had the privilege of that. I was born in 91, so they were getting rid of it when I was already born. But yeah, I wish that people would start focusing on just getting better writers. One of my major gripes is that too many kids get hired right out of college and start writing for these fucking production companies because they're like somebody's niece or nephew or fucking son. In many facets too of the film industry, nepotism is a problem, and I think it's just ever present, like in the most transparent sense of it. Presently, because you can see that these are people writing these shows, that it's just think tank group mentality. There's no life experience behind it. There's no like actual human drama. It's like literally watching some kids play with fucking wrestling figurines or some shit. But you get to make Brad Pitt the fucking Undertaker or whatever. Like, I don't know if any of that's making sense, but I'm gonna try and get some thinking fuel in my brain and watch this goddamn movie. All right, so without further ado, we got Stowaway on Netflix. Yeah. All right. Fuck. I don't know why I enjoy that. Jake actually really enjoys that little sound riff. It's like part of the soundboard. I got the sad trombone. That one's pretty fun. I already used that though, and then I got that. It's good transitional sound. The you know gotta keep it ready for when you have the zingers, and then my personal favorite is the studio audience. But yeah, I just watched Stowaway. What a fucking nightmare of a movie that was. Camille, I love you, but what the fuck would? Why did I just watch that? I mean, it was all right. It wasn't that bad. It was just like it was 2 fucking hours long, and it took me like 8. I had to get up and piss like fucking 8 times. I like could not follow what the fuck was going on for the last 40 minutes of the movie. The holy shit, that was a lot to take in. All right. Yeah. So, like I said, I'm not really trying to do like a recap of the movie or nothing. I just kind of want to give you my 2 cents on it and show you where I think it succeeded and failed. So let's start with the succeeding because there was a few things. It was cool to see like a creative interpretation of what like an interplanetary like I would say spaceship, but like it's like a docking station, I guess. A lot of this movie didn't make any fucking sense. Principally, a lot of the suspension of disbelief that you're gonna have to use to make this movie make sense comes from like ignoring everything you know about the ISS or like pretending like Elon Musk isn't like a public fucking figure right now, and there's like everybody having a kind of modern or kind of having like an understanding of modern fucking aeronautic technology, I guess is the best way of putting it. There is a place called the ISS, the International Space Station, and every country sends rockets up there. They all have the ability to dock on this fucking space station. They go, they hang out up there, do experiments, fucking video chat with their kids for some fucking reason, or play guitar, whatever. And that is in what is called low space orbit around Earth, where it's in a perpetual state of free fall. They have to adjust it once in a while when weight and shit gets added. They have to take it further out. For some reasons, occasionally they go to 0 Gs, whatever. It's a fucking thing. Like, you should know this already. If not, just Google the International Space Station, and you'll learn everything you need to fucking know about it. But yeah, this is kind of like if they made the ISS into a fucking, like some kind of satellite, or not satellite, what am I saying here? I fucking smoke too much weed. They turned it into an interplanetary craft of sorts where it's going to go between Earth and Mars. So the film starts, I guess, on Earth, and they're in some kind of ship that goes up to this thing and docks, I guess, or it's getting launched and separating from the fucking booster. It's not entirely clear. The main focus of the film is kind of done from the inside of the thing, not really the outside. So some of your spatial awareness isn't really like accurately translated, which leads me to probably the biggest flaw in the fucking movie, which is the reason the film is called Stowaway. And also, go fuck yourself if you got a fucking problem with spoiler alerts. Just watch the fucking movie. I already paused in the middle of it. Go watch it yourself. I don't care if I ruin anything for you. Just, you're an adult. If you're listening to this shit, you probably have so little going on in your life that fuck this bitch and then Netflix's fucking screensaver came up and it's Steven Seagal wrestling Tommy Lee Jones in Under Siege. That caught me off guard. Shit. Alright, but yeah, like I said, don't worry, there's gonna be fucking tons of spoilers on this shit. So if you're somebody gets all fucking salty about that, don't listen to my shit. Yeah, anyway, the biggest flaw of the fucking movie is I'm not entirely sure of what component of the space station ship thing, the namesake of the film, the Stowaway guy, I guess the character's name is Michael, kind of looks like fucking, the Get Out guy, I forget his fucking name. Yeah, it kind of looks like him. But yeah, he's stowed away in some part of the station, but at the same time, I think they took a craft to get to the station, and then there's like a dialogue that the main bitch has with the faceless command center person about how the I guess like they're like, how did he get on here? But then they never answer that question. I guess he was just working on it. But if he was working on it and the space station was already up there, or like they would have known because it would have been heavier, and like they could have known before they like left Earth's orbit or something. Like, dude, there's like everything about this film makes no fucking sense when it comes to like physics. Like, if you were gonna do this mission, you gotta do it the way fucking somehow Armageddon got it correct. You go to the ISS, you dock there, and then you got to take something that uses an alternative form of fuel, like compressed air or like fucking nitrogen or some shit. Then you go from one to cause you got to go in like a direct path. So, or the most direct path that you're able to do. So why the fuck are you gonna like just launch the entire thing like in a straight shot? That doesn't make any fuck, and it's like spinning the whole time too, which is creating gravity. I understand that part. But the lighting never changes, which really fucking frustrates me because like Earth is in the same spot. Earth would continue moving around the sun, and it wouldn't just be getting smaller; it'd be in different fucking spaces too. Which I don't know who the fuck was in charge of. And this goes back to my other point too from earlier, where this is a very poorly written film, and it has so little going on, but yet there's like so much to try and take in. It's borderline unrelatable. Well, it's entirely unrelatable. I don't think anybody listening to this shit's a fucking astronaut. But every step of the way, it just gets like further and further and further from like relatability, and it just kind of culminates into a fucking weird mess of what I thought was going to be kind of like a ticking clock thing, or potentially like a love story even. It's just this like really destitute, sad fucking pity party of a fucking movie where the whole thing was preventable if they would have just fucking done what they were supposed to do. Like, but they're all so they get up there. There's 3 of them. Their spaceship thing is designed for 3 people. And they find a guy, the stowaway guy, Michael, fucking hiding in the life support system, which for whatever reason they're going between 2 planets. They only have 1 life support system, the thing that's supposed to convert carbon dioxide into oxygen, I guess. If I'm not mistaken, like the one thing government is anal about is keeping people alive, or at least until like they can get further than the commies or whatever. Why the fuck would you only put 1 oxygen thingy in there? Make 2. It's a fucking logical thing. And then there's like airlocks on it too, which I can understand, like having a critical part of your spaceship damaged, but like wouldn't the airlock just like you just shut it off and then like the rest of the ship sealed off, if I'm not mistaken? Isn't that how that works? Or why would you have the life support system in a place that's airlockable off, but then if that section was to fail in the spaceship, why would you put it in a place where the airlock, it wasn't like accessible without the airlocks? Like the fucking geography of it makes no sense. But that being said, like the one thing that one of the few things that this story or film excels with is the set design. Like they did a pretty good job making a spaceship, and it's done in a way where you kind of understand that every inch matters. They kind of draw attention to it with the fucking coffee cups, because back to the unrelatability thing, there's a whole like minor like subplot that they don't get into where the one dude's from Harvard and then the other chick is from Yale, and they have like this like, why would you waste 800 grams of space or your personal carry-on or whatever so you could make a fucking shitty joke? And I have fucking kind of the ability to agree with them right there. Like, that's a dumb fucking I don't even fucking know where to begin with this. It's not relatable. Nobody understands that conflict. You're appealing to less than 1% of even Ivy League fucking students probably. They don't care. Nobody fucking cares about that. That's not like really like an interesting aspect of the story. It can kind of go fucking unsaid, but that's nitpicky. But it's like it just peters out. It goes nowhere. All that they really so the three people that are supposed to be there are all scientists. Obviously, they're on the fucking spaceship. But then this guy just kind of pops into the story out of nowhere because he's stuck in the fucking roof on the oxygen makey thingy, and like, okay, so you kind of are assuming like this guy's not supposed to be here. But it turns out he's like an Ivy League fucking scientist as well. Now, here's where the fucking screenwriters failed. Take Biodome, for example. The humor, or at least like the motivation of the plot, is that these people aren't supposed to be there, but they make accommodations. So this kind of the same trajectory, but for some reason they make the dude just as smart as everybody else. It works with idiots because then it's kind of like the culpability falls on the scientists to be smarter and bring them up to their level. But in this case, everybody's at like a borderline like level playing field. So the fact that like the entire drama unfolds the way it does is like, fucking why? Like the guy's smart enough to know, like, so keeping that in mind too, I'm gonna keep this going. Yeah, so like that, none of that fucking makes sense. It's not relatable. The fucking, there's this like little bit of banter where they're like trying to figure out, how to get the guy to do something that's needed, but it's like he's a fucking scientist. You should kind of just be like, hey, I'm gonna do independent study. Like if you need me to take the garbage out or whatever, wash the dishes, like I can make that work. It just like stay out of their fucking way, or like he's cataloging data, but it's making it seem like he has never fucking worked in a lab before when he just disclosed that he's about to like give a project idea to the same fucking company that's doing this Mars trip, which I thought they were going there to colonize Mars too, and I didn't realize until like an hour and 15 minutes in there that they were only planning on going for a brief amount of time to do a couple of experiments and then head back. So they should have plenty of shit. Like if they're going to a planet with the intention of like setting up shop for a little while and heading back, like yeah, the resources are limited, but I think that they're setting up a more permanent stay. Can't they just shoot like a rocket that's like a little more streamlined? They mentioned like the fastest moving rockets or some shit about like an unmanned thing for support or something. So clearly that technology exists in this diegetic realm. So why can't they just like have like a care package that's gonna fucking buzz them, beat them to the planet with like all the fucking oxygen and like fucking tampons and whatever the fuck else they need? Like another gigantic gaping leap of logic, especially even when you're suspending disbelief. But like we'll roll with it. And like I said, like the use of space that the set designers did, and the camera work, like everything does look kind of the way that you would expect space travel to go. It's very compact. Every scene is kind of claustrophobic in a sense. The set design did a really good fucking job too of giving you that. There's like a lot of rounded angles and like not really like a lot of sharp angles. Like they did the Kubrick thing with the camera where they lower everything down to about like waist level to make things seem a little bit more ominous and disconnected, and it makes symmetry a little more pronounced too, which gives you like a sense of like Kubrick like using like sharp corners and weird patterns. Like this is a space station, so everything's kind of like round and like padded and shit. Which I don't know if it's a chicken or the egg thing, but there's always like kind of this doom and gloom notion about space, but also with all like the space horrors like the Alien series and like Ghosts of Mars, shit like that, where like shit just can go awry real quick. Like having this like calm, sterile environment in like a very like rounded space where it's supposed to look kind of like safe and bouncy, but like it could be like extremely perilous, and that's like almost like a worst case scenario thing. It does add to the atmosphere of it, and this like atmosphere goes from like paranoia, where I thought it was going to be like this all right, they're going to gang up on the Stowaway dude and kill him, and they like give him an option at one point to even like take his own life because their oxygen thing he's busting, they're running out of air. I don't know if I even needed to fucking explain that. The film took a good 45 minutes to and it just fucking broke my brain. Like I have notes and I can't even fucking focus on them just because of how bludgeoned I feel by this fucking film. Like my brain feels violated by it. There's such a lapse in logic. It's created a disconnect like between the way I took that in and I think the way a normal viewing audience is supposed to receive a film. Like you're not supposed to have like remorse I think. I don't know. It's fucking hit me in a weird way. Fucking Under Siege is back on my Netflix scroll again. God damn it. All right, let me get to the bottom of this. I got another 15 minutes. Okay, so like like I was saying, there's some positive stuff. So like the atmosphere is pretty good. It's just muddled, but albeit they do sell everything quite well. The cinematography is fine. They make everything look claustrophobic and spacey. Like I said, all right, so I hit those. They add much to its detriment too. Like if I'm having a hard enough time conveying the story as is, like it was a very simple story. It just kind of goes in weird, illogical directions. So they start and stop all these fucking plot lines that never go anywhere. Like the one is the Stowaway guy. It turns out he has like a sister, which. Okay, they kind of already were going for like the wokeness inclusion shit, like diversity quota, because there's no white males in this movie. It's two white females, one of which is Australian and kind of looks like what's her fucking name, Tilda Swinton, however you say her name. And like I'm not gonna fucking count check boxes or whatever, but it's like it's fucking obvious like they're trying to hit some diversity quota, but like I'm not offended by it. I don't have any problems with it, but like, can we be fucking real? When's the fucking last time you didn't see a fucking space shuttle flight without like one white dude? The fucking every person that's been on the moon has been a white dude that plays fucking golf and drinks fucking beer and hangs out in Florida. Like, you gotta give me one. Like, it's not even it's a little bit of suspension of disbelief, for whatever reason. It's not a racial or a sexual orientation thing. There's just like a complete and total, like, you don't understand what you guys are doing. Like, and this was, I'm gonna give it the benefit of the doubt too. This is a foreign film. This was made in Germany, from what I understand, even though it has that fucking chick that's not Lily Adams and that's not that other chick that's married to Dax Shepard. I don't know. They all kind of fucking blend together. They're all the doughy, narrow-faced white bitch. Whatever. Yeah, Anna Kendrick. Is that her name? Whoever she is. Yeah. Like, I don't fucking know where I was going with that. But anyway, they hit this like diversity quota shit. Yeah. I think where I was going with that was it's not it being like unrelatable too. So like the lack of believability in both the astronauts' abilities as well as like the fact that this dude just shows up with no fucking explanation. He's just in the ceiling in their oxygen thingy. There's just these like story tangents that go fucking nowhere. He's got a sister. They didn't make a replacement oxygen thing, but then they used oxygen to turn the spaceship initially, and it's got almost all of it left, even though they don't have a way of gauging how much is in there. But it's like entirely full. And then they got these canisters that they need to fill up, and like it falls apart. The whole fucking thing falls apart real quickly. But like it does get kind of interesting because I thought like, all right, where are they going with this? Around like an hour in, it's working, but it hits the so like the story arc is supposed to be like beginning, middle, and end, and then there's like a rising action that culminates kind of to like the climax. The climax happened, like, ultimately, like, everything's, like, set up, and, like, it's about to be followed through with about an hour in. And then you find out what happens, which is that they need to fill these oxygen tanks up and go outside into the fucking space thing and then walk up the rest of the space station to these fucking oxygen turbine or fucking thruster things. I think that's right. Thruster chutes. Yeah, okay, thruster. Let's go with that anyway. Yeah, they're filled with oxygen, so they're going to try and use that shit, and for no reason whatsoever, like, they just are going to fuck... The orientation of the spaceship is real confusing, too, because it's kind of like a big... Like a satellite shape, but like at the one end, there's like the inhabitable end, and then the other end, there's like the oxygen thruster thing, and then in the middle there's a solar panel. So if that gives you a good mental image, it's like a big straight line with a big fat like solar panel waistband. Now, I don't understand how fucking the physics of this entire movie have been working up till this point, because I can't even figure out how the fucking Stowaway guy that the movie's named after got onto the ship without his, like, he survived either getting into space or staying in space for a while, and his brain is somehow not mush and his bones aren't just like fucking dust. Like, you can't stay in space for that long, especially with like artificial gravity. It fucking hollows your bones out and makes your bone density go down. So, and like, not only that, but like your organs kind of like, you gotta constantly stay, like, you gotta exercise like several times a day from what I understand, so that your muscles and your like organs don't just like collapse in on themselves. But yeah, this guy was up there for like anywhere between 12 hours and a couple of days, which I can't, or like weeks maybe. Another fucking plot hole of like how he got on there and how he's like not brain dead, but he's still able to science and help out. Or I guess not. I'm hoping that everybody here has watched this movie and they're not just like listening to this shit and wondering why the fuck I'm having so much trouble describing it. But you know, I did look up on IMDb because I wanted to make sure I got at least, there's only 4 actors in it, but like I wanted to make sure I at least got the Kendrick chick that's name I'm still forgetting right. But I read a review where someone was like, this movie functions. It has people that act, it has dialogue, it has a setting, it has a plot. But anything further than that is saying too much about it as a film. And I have to say I completely agree. I've seen a lot of fucking art house films, and I've seen a lot of experimental films, and I've seen a lot of fucking student films. And this is on par with the quality of that. The effort was there, and I do appreciate when you can clearly see that somebody had like a really, like an idea that might not have been fleshed out, but they tried. And they definitely tried here, but that they need to do is try and save things in editing, which they're not doing anymore. Like, this was a nightmare. This could have been 90 minutes out the fucking door and been a significantly better film, but for some reason they just kept having to retread the same fucking shit and start these stories that went absolutely nowhere. Like, there's a whole story that you think like, okay, they're gonna buy some time because there's the third Doctor. There's the two chicks. There's the Australian chick that looks like Tilda Swinton, and then there's Anna Kendrick, I think, or Kendrick Lamar. And then there's the dude Michael, he's the black guy that was stuck in the ceiling and the oxygen thing, and then fucking the other scientist he's like a plant doctor, mushroom doctor of sorts, who's an Asian guy. And I just remember his name is Kim, and I have he's probably, like, I'm probably gonna get this completely wrong. He's probably like it has a plethora of backgrounds, but I believe he was Korean because Kim is a Korean name, like Kim Jong-un, that guy. So, but they made him, he looks kind of like vaguely like Elon Musk, which is funny to me. I found that to be fucking hilarious right off the bat. And he keeps getting seasick too. So he throws up and he doesn't like the way the stars make him feel when he's spinning around in space. That made me amused, like, for some fucking perverse reason. But anyway, yeah, like he has a subplot too where he's trying to grow the plants quick, and he basically like ruins all the research that they were going to do on Mars because he wasn't supposed to perform the experiments on the thing, but they need to create oxygen and replace the CO2 because their oxygen thing was filled with black guy. And yeah, he just fucking bricks the whole mission. So like, they're going to Mars still, but they don't know what they're going to do when they get there. And he like expresses like, not even halfway in, like earlier than 90 minutes, like he's like, or earlier than 60 minutes, he's just like, yeah, I got nothing. And then the plants that he was working on that he tried to do on the ship die. And it just becomes this like model, like it goes from, okay, well, we've exhausted all our options. Well, we should try and make the black guy kill himself. Well, we're not going to do that. And then the Dr. Kim guy basically gives him a shot that'll put him out of his misery. And instead of doing what I think would be the scientific and diplomatic thing to do in a situation like that, because this guy the Stowaway dude, that Michael, black guy, he's a scientist. It's not like I said, like Biodome, where they're bringing a dumber, dim-witted character up to their level. This guy is like considered a peer, a student, albeit, but like he's still a fucking peer. Like he's a man of science who's trying to get on this team in his own way. But like in doing so, like if he's going to apply for this program or whatever, like he's got to understand the risks that accompany that. Like you won't just volunteer to go on a spaceship, let alone like stow yourself away without understanding there's a pretty fucking good chance you're gonna just croak. And I think that like if they don't explain how he got there, but like, you know, he's the one that's not supposed to be there, and if he's putting 3 other people's lives in jeopardy, look, like, I'm sorry, bud, but you fucked up. Like, you got to take that fucking shot for the team, son. And he just like it becomes this like crying thing, and it's like, oh, I only have my sister. Well, you left your fucking sister. You ended up stuck in the ceiling, dude. Like, you didn't care enough about her to get home from work or whatever. You just ended up fucking yourself over, if anything. And it's like, that sucks, but yeah, like there's a line that they throw away where it's like, what are we gonna do, make him walk out the airlock? Like, fucking yeah. Like, you fucked up. You're a scientist, though. Somebody just wandered into 3 other people's experiment, like unannounced, without any preparation. And it's like they express in the film that it's already overcrowded and they're beyond what they would normally be comfortable with at 3. It's like a place built for 2 people. I'm sorry, I drank too much Metamucil like 2 hours ago. And I don't know if it was the movie or if I just drank it too quickly, but I think I'm going to have to shit myself soon. Let me wrap this up. Yeah, so, you know, he doesn't kill himself, and then everybody's just sad for about another 10 minutes until they're like, oh yeah, oxygen's thruster, let's take the tanks to the thing. So he volunteers, but they're like, no, you're too stupid because you got yourself stuck in the ceiling and you're inexperienced, so you can't figure out how to do it. Kendrick Lamar, Anna Kendrick, and fucking Dr. Kim guy decide that they're going to be the ones that are going to go do it. They start climbing the thing. Dr. Kim's getting seasick. They fucking get to the oxygen, find out there's more than enough oxygen, and then old Butterfingers decides to fucking drop one of the tanks off the side. They start rushing in because there's solar flares, which I don't think, it might have been a poor translation. I think this might have been like something that it's like a nitpick, but I picked up on it. I don't think the people that wrote this movie know the difference between meteorites and solar flares. They're like, because there's there's a lot of shit in space. Space is called space because it's vacant, but there's this stuff called ISM. It's called interstellar medium. And it's basically particuli or anything that's not just vacant space out in space. So there's a lot of that flying around out there. And I mean, like, not consistently, but like there is shit. But they refer to a solar storm, like, and then the way they're like, yeah, there's an incoming like magnetic solar storm or some shit, or a flare or something like that. But it looks what I would describe visually as more like what a bunch of like a meteor shower would look like. But then it all culminates and they get one of the tanks of oxygen. They have enough for 3 people, or they lost the one's still charging or some shit because Butterfingers dropped the other one. The fucking meteorites make them go back inside. So now, somebody's got to volunteer to go back out. Anna Kendrick's like, I'll fucking do it because I'm the only one that knows how to do it. I guess because she's the doctor. Doctors are supposed to do everything in their power to preserve life, but I have no fucking idea what the Hippocratic Oath applies to when you're not, like, within millions of miles of a fucking hospital. Yeah, so it just kind of wraps up that way, and then she burns to death from radiation sickness out on the side, which, by the way, like, they did such a good job with the set design and everything inside, but they just gave the fuck up on the exterior shots because, like, it's mostly CGI, clearly, like, you got it, but they didn't even try with, like, building a miniature or doing anything that was, like, remotely close to giving a shit about what it was. They're like, fuck it, we're gonna build, like, a 4-foot cylindrical platform, paint it white like it looks like it belongs in space, and then you're just going to act in front of it. Like, they gave no shits about lighting it correctly. Like, the thing's supposed to be spinning at like a couple hundred miles per hour, and they got the stars down perfectly. and the trajectory of the stars and everything. Like, I mean, it's a little hokey, and you can tell it's CGI, but it's not terrible. But the light never fucking changes. Like, the sun and Earth and everything else around it should not be in the same fucking place every time we look at it. But for some reason, that keeps happening. So yeah, we get to watch fucking Anna Kendrick melt on the edge of what looks like a fucking wooden diving platform. So yeah. I'm at 30 minutes, so I got some final thoughts. Yeah, the biggest gripe I have about this is just the suspension of disbelief being like, or like, if you can't suspend disbelief, you're never gonna fucking believe this movie. And I'm not that much of a skeptic to the point where I can't turn my brain off and suspend disbelief personally just to enjoy a movie. Believe me, I've been dying to go see Kong vs. Godzilla in theaters, but I haven't had a day where the IMAX is open and I don't have work. So I don't think that's going to happen. Maybe I can make it happen before it's too late. I don't fucking know. But like, I enjoy things. I have the ability to discern reality from fiction and, you know, not let it ruin my day or nothing. And this was one of those ones where they were trying to make Gravity, and Gravity was like so flawed, like logistically, physically. If you have any mild understanding of how like any of that shit works, it's, I think that was a fucking pragmatic way to go about trying to approach the subject of like being stuck outside of your fucking space station. But yeah, it's trying to kind of do the Gravity thing where it's like, okay, well, we got a situation where we're in a very isolated, very specific thing, and it just doesn't work for me. It's kind of just too not like if they would have given it like a little bit of a nudge in either a comedic direction or like at least tried to make the comedic thing relatable, because like I said, like they do the bit with like the Harvard versus Yale, and it just how many fucking people do you think actually understand that rivalry? Like, I went to Hofstra. I have no fucking idea what the rivalry at Hofstra is. I think it's Stony Brook. I was too busy fucking drinking 40-ounce beers and putting goldfish in them to have any fucking bearing on what the school pride is. We had a football team for 3 weeks, and then like when I was a freshman, and then we got rid of it. So that's as much as I care about fucking school rivalry. They're just a fucking babysitter that you pay way more money. Anyway, there's also a story that Anna Kendrick tells to Michael, the black stowaway guy, that something about being a lifeguard and watching some dude drown and then not knowing if someone's going to rescue you. But like she did it anyway, and then ultimately like she doesn't get rescued, but she gets the fucking oxygen. And I think the parallel they're drawing is just like do the right thing regardless of what the consequence is, or like if your own safety's at risk. But if that was the logic, then the guy that was the stowaway should have probably been the one to go do it, because he put all of their lives at risk by being there. And knowing he's a man of science, he should have done, like I said, this is a fucking onion to unpack of just absolute stupidity. And like I very much appreciate that somebody recommended this to me. Camille, I love you, dude. It was great. I had fun watching it. I just got home from work and got high and was hoping to do something a little creative, so I appreciate the suggestion. But holy fucking shit, next time just find something else.